things keep coming out about Joe Biden and how terrible and how tyrannical his regime was. And it just keeps getting worse with every single thing that we find out. And today, you have two bombshells that just dropped about how the Biden regime weaponized every lever of federal power, every single government agency, every single one, all the intelligence agencies, the DOJ, the mainstream media, which we all know is one of the arms of the Democrat Party to protect Joe Biden and, of course, his closest allies. And so today we have that Joe Biden spied on FBI lawmakers. I'm sorry, on lawmakers through the FBI. I know you're shocked to hear this. I know you're shocked to hear this, except not at all. So he had Jack Smith tracking private communications and calls for nearly a dozen Republican senators during the January 6th probe. Nearly a dozen GOP senators were spied on by the Biden FBI. I mean, think about all the things that they say that President Trump does that makes him a fascist, a dictator, an authoritarian, all of these things. And meanwhile, Joe Biden is spying on Republican senators. Now, this is what they called Operation Arctic Frost. And we get the trickle of information. So we've known about the operation for a while, but we keep getting trickles of just how bad it got. All of it is terrible, but there's there's a spectrum there, right? And so I want to play Attorney General Pam Bondi, who you just saw at the beginning of the program. I want to play Attorney General Pam Bondi talking about Arctic Frost in her Senate hearing today.
Operation Arctic Frost was an unconstitutional, undemocratic abuse of power. During Arctic Frost, the FBI also placed 92 linked Republican individuals and Republican groups, such as Charlie Kirk's Turning Point, on their list. This is the kind of conduct that shattered the American people's faith in our government, as I said in my opening statement. We are ending this weaponization. Our FBI is targeting violent criminals, child predators, and other lawbreakers, not sitting senators who happen to be from the wrong political party. Several of your colleagues sitting at this dais were targeted, and others. We will continue to stop that throughout the Justice Department. That is the ultimate weaponization of government.
I mean, they're going after their political opponents. They're going after, quite literally every spectrum of political opponent, because you're talking about the way that they went after President Donald Trump, the way that they raided Mar-a-Lago, the way that the 91 indictments, the 34 felony counts, but they weren't done there. They had to spy on Donald Trump's friends as well. So the senators who were targeted there, Mike Kelly, Lindsey Graham, Bill Hagerty, Josh Hawley, Dan Sullivan, Tommy Tuberville, Ron Johnson, Cynthia Luis, and Marsha Blackburn. Isn't it crazy how there's the Democrats didn't have this happen to them? Isn't that crazy? Joe Biden only thought, let me spy on Donald Trump's friends. So coincidence how that happens. So the FBI was once again, in another way, to add to the infinity ways that the FBI was weaponized under Joe Biden, to track this time the private communications of United States lawmakers for political purposes. And the Democrats dare look you in the eye and tell you that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. I mean, let that sink in. They call Donald Trump literally Hitler. That's what they call him. They say that democracy is gone now that Donald Trump is in charge because he is a tyrant. He's a tyrant. And then when you look at what Joe Biden actually did, because this is just one step of many things that Joe Biden actually did, as much as they want to scream literally Hitler, what he actually did, the way that he went after pro-lifers, the way that he went after, anyone on the right, the J6ers, the way that they weaponized the government to make sure that you got your experimental jab or you couldn't go to work and you had to wear a mask and the cops were going to arrest you if you did. I mean, the levels that the Biden regime took to go after you if you believe in small government and lower taxes. And they have the audacity to look at you and say Donald Trump is literally Hitler. Well, guess what? I got news for them. This is what dictatorships actually do. This is what a dictatorship looks like. What we are seeing, thank God in our hindsight, thank God it is in the rearview mirror. We were very close to 4 more years of it, and I don't know if we had come out of it, because this is the type of shit that was happening. This is the type of stuff that was happening. And we would have had not just 4 more years of that, we would have had 4 more years of even worse, because if they had gotten away with it, if they had won, I don't know if we would be able to pull this whole experiment that we call America back together. So the weaponized Justice Department spent years trying to prosecute the Russia hoax against President Trump. I mean, remember the millions of taxpayer dollars that were spent? Remember the 2 years that they spent claiming over and over and over again that Donald Trump was colluding with Russia? Well, the second bombshell that was dropped with this operation is that you're going to be shocked to hear this. Not really, if you've watched this program for a while. Apparently, Joe Biden asked the CIA to bury a report on his December 2015 visit to Ukraine, which revealed that Ukrainian officials felt his son Hunter's business dealings in their country, you know, the country of Ukraine, where Burisma was. They felt that Hunter's business dealings with Burisma in their country undermined the anti-corruption message that he had come to deliver. Oh, I believe the chickens are coming home to roost, I think is the phrase that the Democrats like to utter so often. So apparently, according to a new CIA report that they've now made available to us, thank you, President Trump, they were actually really afraid about Burisma because the people over in Ukraine said that it was a double standard for Hunter Biden to work for Burisma Holdings, while Joe Biden was out there lecturing other governments to clean up their act, while, of course, Hunter raked in the millions from daddy's business dealings. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that so interesting? And yet Donald Trump colluded with Russia. I mean, it's the type of thing, guys, that I know that if you were awake and if you were paying attention back in 2016 and 2017 and 2018 and whenever we were going through all of the Russia hoax, this is the kind of thing that just makes you crazy. It makes you crazy. And I mean, I'm vindicated. That's fine. I know I'm never going to get an apology from these people. But do you remember when the biggest thing on the Democrats' minds was quid pro quo? Oh my gosh, we have to impeach Donald Trump because he uttered the term quid pro quo. What was he asking for to Ukraine? What was he asking of Ukraine? Oh, that's right. He was asking about the corruption of the Biden family. But nobody wants to talk about that. So this is the email instructing to bury the report. I just spoke with the VP and he would strongly prefer this report not be disseminated. I bet he would. I bet he did. I bet he did prefer that nobody talk about that. And in fact, he preferred it so much that anything that he didn't want disseminated just got censored. X under Jack Dorsey you'd get kicked off the platform if you wanted to talk about Hunter Biden's laptop or any of the other corruption that was happening with the Biden family. You weren't allowed to talk about it. So I bet in true dictator form, Joe Biden did have a big problem and a big preference as to whether or not this information was disseminated. I am sure he didn't want people understanding exactly how much his family was cashing in on his position and his power. I'm sure. So When you look at how the Democrats have done this, they've been, I mean, up until Trump 2.0, they had been so good at doing this stuff in the darkness, being able to, I mean, you look at Nancy Pelosi, how much she's benefited being in Congress, but they've been doing this for a very long time, cashing in on the power while trying to be claiming that they are fighting corruption abroad. And I would just say, like, Hillary used the same playbook with the Steele dossier. Bury your crimes, project them onto your opponent. I don't know what you're talking about here. Donald Trump, Russia, Russia, Russia. And remember, as he was saying, Donald Trump, Russia, 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 he was also claiming Hunter Biden is the smartest guy I know. He's so smart. He never did anything wrong.
And it turns out he did not do a single thing wrong, as everybody's investigated. Look, my son did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. I carried out the policy of the United States government in rooting out corruption in Ukraine. And that's what we should be focusing on.
Huh. How did that turn out for you, Joe? How did that turn out for you? So Hunter did nothing wrong. And notice Joe says, and I did nothing wrong. He did so much nothing wrong that, he had to be pardoned by his daddy in the 11th hour. Isn't that, well, that's kind of weird. Why would you need to pardon someone if they did nothing wrong? Just listen, don't think too much about it. It's not going to make sense. So this is what the Democrats would call, most importantly, I think, the takeaway from this is that Joe Biden, for literal years of his life, did things, meddled in elections, at the same time that he was telling you that Donald Trump was meddling in elections, and at the same time that he was telling you, and rightfully so, that election interference is a great existential threat to this country. It is. It's just that it's always the Democrats who are doing it. It is. It's just that, well, the Democrats want to say that we are actually engaging in voter suppression for creating stricter rules for elections. They call that voter suppression. Meanwhile, they are burying damning information for them and spying on their political opponents. You tell me which one is a greater threat to democracy, which we all know that we don't have. This is not a democracy. This is a constitutional republic. But aside from that, that is what the Democrats call it. Okay. So let's use their terms. Let's use their language for just a second. If election interference is the greatest threat to this democracy, if election interference is the end all be all, why is it never a problem when the Democrats do it? Why is it never a problem that the Biden FBI was spying on literally anyone who crossed them, seemingly? I mean, if you were in DC on January 6th, you got to knock, knock, FBI, just want to talk. We just want to talk. And it is stunning to me how the Biden regime crossed every single line. Every single line. He was covering up for his family members. Remember, Hunter wasn't the only one. He had several family members that he pardoned. Gee, I wonder why if they did nothing wrong. I don't know. Don't go looking at the bank statements. He was covering up for his family members. He was pardoning them. He was spying on political opponents. And he was silencing and burying anyone who wanted to criticize him, including the country that we all said, hey guys, this stinks. Hey guys, this is corruption. Turns out, you know who agreed with us? That country. They all saw. And imagine, I know, as much as, they like to say the adults are back in charge every time the Democrats get in power. Imagine how humiliating it was for our country to have Ukraine sit there and go, Yeah, this isn't, you're not going to come here, old man, and lecture us as the vice president, seeing how your son has come to our country and has profited greatly off of business in our country. Yeah, you're not gonna come here and lecture us about corruption, buddy. Okay, we might hear this from certain people. It's not gonna be you. We need to hear all of it, all of it. And I thank the administration for making sure that they are being transparent about all of this. But I guarantee you, if there is this, there is more. We need all of it. It doesn't need to be a slow trickle. We're big boys and girls. Let us see the information. And then, by the way, let us find out if we can bring Joe Biden in for some testimony, because there are some people who need to be held accountable. And Joe Biden is just the tip of the iceberg.
If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.